What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Agrarian Skies 2. Oh yeah, guys. So off camera, I did make this advanced inscriber. In fact, we had it here last episode. I never really talked about it. But yeah, it was suggested in the comments that I upgrade our inscriber to this automatic one. And this guy right here is pretty cool. It accepts 5 of these upgrades instead of just 3 like the normal one does. But what's also good about that is the normal one, you can only put in 1 item in each one of these little slots. Like if you want to make a processor, you can only put in 1 gold, 1 redstone, 1 silicon, and then I'll make 1. And then you have to refill it. But with the advanced inscriber, if I wanted to make, I don't know, 64 of these, the gold processors, we can just go ahead and stick in a full stack of each of these materials and it'll just work, which is awesome. So you can just go ahead and click all those guys in there. Maybe if it'll let me shift click. Why won't it let me shift click those in? Oh, you know what? That isn't the printed silicon, is it? Okay, so silicon. We need the inscriber, this thing, and that. There we go. So we can do a stack of silicon, for instance. Otherwise, we would have had to just put in 1 of these at a time, and then, yeah, it's just kind of annoying. The advanced inscriber is way better. This is from the AE2 stuff mod. I'm kind of curious what else is in here, AE2. So we've already used the crystal growth chamber, which is amazing. The pattern encoder, I don't know what's different about this. And then the advanced inscriber. Maybe the pattern encoder is like from AE1 where you don't have to have the item in your system in order to make the pattern. I really don't know. But the crystal growth chamber, I don't remember if I've shown you guys this. I know I've talked about making it before. So how about we do some quartz? Let's grab, I don't know, a stack of this. We need charged. Do we have any charged? We got a little bit. Okay, I guess we're not going to make quite as much as I thought we were going to make. Let's do half a stack of that, and redstone. We'll do half a stack of this stuff. So these you can just throw all those materials in, and it just automatically makes that stuff for you. It's so good, so fast. You don't have to worry about dropping things into the water like you would with vanilla AE2. Is that a thing? Vanilla AE2? Anyway, so you can do that, and then that'll go ahead and make a stack of our logic processors, the golden ones, which is awesome. It doesn't show there's any configuration here for automatically ejecting, so you will have to still pull them out with the pipe or I guess like a storage bus or whatever you do, but it's so much better. You can just drop that stuff in there, walk away, come back, and you have all your processors. Way better for automation and all of that. So I haven't gotten a chance to finish this thing yet. I'm still waiting on that glass to smelt up. It takes a long time. So one thing that I wanted to work on today is to see if we can get that glass going a little bit faster. I know there's some things from Tinker's Construct that I've never messed with before, like you can extend out these faucets. I guess let's take a look at this real quick. Tinker's, there is this guy right here, casting channel. Now I believe with this thing, you can cast out into many different casting basins, like in this case, our smeltery is full of this molten glass, right? So we can pull that out through a channel and pipe that into multiple casting basins at the same time instead of just doing 1 at a time, which sounds pretty awesome. Another thing that I'd like to do is start emptying out the smeltery. It seems like we're making 1 at a time, then uses 1 sand, then makes 1, then uses another sand. So we are making the molten glass way faster than we are actually using it. So maybe what we should do, first things first, let's grab ourselves a drum. Yeah, that's what we need to do. So drum, we'll make a new drum here. We will start taking some of that molten glass that is in the smeltery. We'll put it into a drum, and then we'll be able to move that somewhere else and cast it. So we don't have to work down there by the smeltery if we don't want to. So we can just stick this guy right there. Yeah, and that fills up full of the glass. Now, how is this going in here? Okay, so it is using up all the different sand. I'm curious, though, if we're going to be able to pull out faster from the smeltery than we are making this stuff. So let's just watch this go down here. Okay, we are still full on the smeltery. Still got like the 78 blocks in it or whatever the maximum capacity is. Oh, it didn't touch those last ones at the bottom there. Okay, so it must be starting over at the top again. Yeah, the way the smeltery works, if a block at the top is all the way full, it'll pull that one out first, and then it'll work down. But it looks like we are making... Well, it did pull that one. We might be smelting this stuff down faster than we can actually pull out of the smeltery. And that's what it kind of appears like. And... yeah, it's leaving these guys down here again. Whoops, I didn't mean to pull that one out. Oh, well, that's fine. Okay, so that's kind of cool to know. Let's put that... where'd it go? There it is. Put that away. So even with this drum being filled up and we are casting at the same time, we are still making the molten glass faster than we can use it, which is kind of cool. The real bottleneck, I suppose, is us, you know, actually getting the molten glass out of there. So let's go ahead and start working on some things here. Let's make that casting channel. I want to see if we can cast, or how this works, because I've never actually used this before. So Tinker's this guy, the casting channel. So that is just an upside down helmet of seared bricks, and that makes 4 of these things. Okay, so we'll do that. I assume we're gonna need, do we have any faucets? We don't. So let's make some of these just to test these out. And we're gonna need some more casting basins. I don't see them. There they are right there. Let's make 4 of those. I'll make 2 more faucets. Okay, and then we got that. So if we grab that drum that has a molten glass in there, we can work where there's a little bit more room. Grab this guy. All right, so yeah, up here I think should be fine. So we have 4 casting basins. So if we stick those guys right like that, we're going to want, I think, the casting channels. Wait, how does that work? Does that drop right in? Oh, that drops right into the... okay, I was thinking we'd have to put the faucets on the outside of these things, but I think I was incorrect in my assumption there. So if we do this... all right, I think I see how this is working. We'll put the drum... oh, we are going to need a way to pull out of the drum, aren't we? So we need a fluid duct and a servo. Grab one of these, one of those. I made a bunch of those earlier. I got tired of coming over here to the mob trap, and I put a trash can here, and I am filtering out bows, shovels, glass bottles, sugar, and iron armor. We don't get a whole lot of the iron armor, but it was filling up, and we don't really need more iron. So I made a servo. We needed that for this particular fella here, and that's just pulling out all that extra stuff. So we're no longer gonna get bows and other garbage clogging up this chest. We're only gonna get the stuff that we want in there. So yeah, I made a bunch of those servos when I did that. Anyway, we wanted the fluid duct, the servo, and this guy. Okay, we should be good to go to try this out. So we will put you right like this. We'll put the drum on top, I suppose. Servo right there. Ignored. So that goes to the first one. Oh, and that is kind of slow, isn't it, though? That is kind of slow. Oh, it leaves that little thing there, too. Yeah, I was hoping this would be way faster, like I do all of these at the same time. Okay, well, we know how to solve that, actually. The casting channels, not what we want. Let me grab the hammer. This guy here. We need to take this servo off. And we need to... is this still full? It looks like it's still got stuff in there. Let's try and pull out of the casting channel. I don't know if we can do that. Did we pull out of there? I can't tell if there's even anything in these things. Yeah, it says there's an amount in there. Okay, so we're going to lose a little bit of glass. It was a good first test. We're going to get rid of these things. Never used the casting channels before, and I guess I was rightfully so not to use those. So we want more liquid. No, fluid ducts. We want more of these things. So we can just go ahead and do it this way, and this will be much faster, I expect. Okay, servo here. ignored. And that should fill up all 4 at the same time. All right, so now we just need a way to pull the glass out of these things and we will be set. Now the only other problem we have is we weren't able to fill up our drum faster than the smeltery was making the stuff down here. So maybe we need a way to get the fluid out of the smeltery that much faster. I'm not sure how else we can do that other than having maybe another fluid duct on the other side, both pulling into a drum. And then we're still gonna have the problem of we're doing this manually by filling up the drum and then moving it around. Okay, well I tell you guys what, I'm gonna work on some stuff off camera here. I'm gonna try and figure out some kind of a solution to this problem and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so I wanted to show you what I was working on here. I know this looks kind of a little complicated actually, but it's not too bad. So this was our original pipes that were pulling out of the casting tables and casting basins. And I've swapped that out to have one resonant retriever underneath the chest. So as soon as a glass block is made, it turns solid, the retriever pulls it out, it goes through the pipe over into the chest. So this over here is something I just added on. So we have 8 total casting basins, 4 on this side, 4 on this side. How did we get a... Oh, you know what? Okay, that was from when I was messing with the pipes. Anyway, so we have a total of 8 casting basins. Then we have some hardened fluid ducts on top. And then over here, we just have a resonant servo that we can place a barrel on. So this should pull out of the barrel, fill up the hardened fluid ducts, and start the casting process. As soon as the molten glass is cast, it should harden up and then it'll pull out, or it should be pulled out by these impulse item ducts. Now, the fact that there is one over here that was still in this thing and didn't get pulled out kind of concerns me that this might not work. I might have to have the pipes on the bottom, not the side like this. If that's the case, I'll just swap that around. It won't be too big of a deal. So, seared glass should, or seared glass, where did I get that from? Molten glass should just be able to be dropped right like that. Now, is that going to work the way I think it is, or do those pipes have to be on the bottom? No, it is working. I wonder why that one had the clear glass in it and it wasn't working. Okay, so it looks like this is working. It is pulling out of the drum. All of these are being cast at the same time. So if we look at the chest, we should be seeing a lot of these things filling up way quicker. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it would be nice if there's a lever or something I could flick right here and then it would send all the stuff over this side. We could probably do that with a tesseract. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to be able to pull out of the smeltery a lot faster. We're kind of running at a limitation with how fast that these fluid ducts and the servos can go. So like with 2 of them, it can fill up pretty quickly. It'll fill this thing up. Yeah, that fills up pretty quick. Yeah, there's just a few more things to work out here, but, you know, this is a pretty good start. We can cast the glass a lot faster, and I'm pretty happy about that. And I can just stand here, fill this up, put it over here, and fill up another one. That's not terrible. It would be better if this was completely automated. Yeah, I think a tesseract right there, or something with a lever on it that we could just send the molten glass over to be cast over here. That would be a much better solution. I might do that. All right, guys. Let me take a few more moments here off camera, try and clean things up, and we will be right back. Alright, so I got everything cleaned up, and we're now just using a tesseract to move the molten glass from the smeltery right here to where the drum was before. And yeah, everything's just covered up. We're using the thermal expansion covers and all that stuff, so you can't see the pipes down below. Looks pretty clean. I'm happy with it. So we are making that molten glass like 9 times faster than, or I guess 8 times? No, 9 times faster than what we were before. We have 9 casting basins constantly casting that out, which is awesome. So we are going to be collecting this clear glass really quickly. I guess another thing we could do is instead of having a chest here, we could have that all pipe into another tesseract that goes to our main base channel. So everything will automatically go into here. That might be something we do now. I had this chest before we set up this wireless terminal, so it might make more sense just to automatically have stuff go into our main AE system as we cast it. Now, I'll probably do that off camera sometime. But anyway, I think we're done with the glass. We don't really need to mess around with that too much right now. That'll happen over time. I'll be able to finish putting the rest of those platforms up there. You can just see the little outlines, kind of. They're not really noticeable. Not as much so as that vanilla glass was anyway. Okay, so let's work on some quests today. I don't think we worked on any last episode, so we definitely want to get some of these knocked out. I was going through the book trying to figure out what I want to do today, and I think we are going to do some more bees and trees today. We are jumping into the Industrialized apiaries quest, so this is going to get us into the automation and the better part, you could say, of doing the bees the faster way. So industrialized apiaries run on RF. The amount they need depends on the upgrades installed. Okay, so this wants us to make one of these. So we are going to make a GenDustry industrialized apiary. So this requires bronze, as forestry normally does. Sturdy casing from forestry. We need this bee receptacle. Now, you know, we might be getting to the point where I'm going to start wanting to set up auto crafting. I know I've been putting that off for a while. I've been putting off a lot of stuff with AE for a while, just because it feels like every time I do modded, I always jump into like the highest tier applied energistics as fast as possible. But yeah, I think it's about time we start looking at doing some of that stuff. So I might be setting some of that up pretty soon in the coming up episodes. But like, if we're gonna be making a bunch of these industrial apiaries and all the upgrades and all that stuff, we're definitely gonna want those auto crafted. But for right now, I think we can just go ahead and manually craft these to complete our quest and see what else we got going on here. So make that bee receptacle, sturdy casing. Yeah, we need some of these bronze gears, and we can just go ahead and manually craft those as well. And there we go. There's an industrial apiary. Let's take a look at this interface. So yeah, we put the princess in the drone here. We can put our upgrades right there. The bee products happen. I am noticing that this is switching to different things. I remember when I used this before, I don't think it ever did that. That might be something new, which is good. That tells you all the different things that it's missing. We've got a spot for power. Okay, and always on, redstone, disabled. All right, very good. So we made this guy that should complete this quest, and that's going to give us 15 proven frames. That is a lot of stuff in our inventory. Let's go ahead and just drop that in here. I guess we can put that drum in there too, and sacrificial orb. Okay, so that just unlocked all these different things from GenDustry. First thing we're probably going to want to do, let's start doing some of this labware stuff. Yeah, these are definitely things I'm going to want automated at some point pretty soon if we have to make any real amount of those things. So gene sample, labware, upgrade frame. Okay, so genetics labware. So that is a little expensive. It uses a diamond, but you get 16, so that's not terrible. We need a blank gene sample. There's this guy. And then I guess upgrade frame would probably be on the last page over here. Yeah, here we go. Upgrade frame. So that's tin, redstone, and some gold nuggets. That isn't too bad at all. So those are those 3 items, and that should complete this quest. That's going to give us 4 light upgrades that allow bees to work in the dark at nighttime that normally wouldn't, and then a reward bag. So this is a good reward bag. Let's see if it actually gives us something good. Moss stone. Okay, we can craft that whenever we want, so it's not exactly good, but whatever. All right, so back to the quest book. This wanted us to make upgrading the apiaries. Oh man, yeah. You know, if I'm gonna craft these, I'm really gonna want patterns set up for that. Grafter. Okay, so we can do this guy. Tree breeding can be rewarding work. Plant 2 different trees. Oh, but you know what? In order to do this, we're gonna need bees set up. You know what? Let's make these guys. These are items that I'm probably never going to want to remake again. So, oh, whoops. We needed a genetic sampler and printer. Let's just search for genetic. Yeah, those guys there. Okay, so we needed the genetic imprinter, a sampler. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff in here. Let's make this guy, and we will make, what are we missing for that? Weighted pressure plate. Oh, we just made a stack of those. Let's see, so we need 47 of those. Seems about right, because I don't want to have to craft each one of those individually. Oh man, so yeah, we need a lot of stuff. I'm gonna make a bunch of those. Oh man, bronze. Okay, so we need bronze. Which isn't it tin and copper? Tin, copper. I think it's those two that will make bronze. So there's some copper, and where is our tin? There it is. Okay, we got a bunch of copper made. So now we can make a bunch of these guys. Okay, so there's a power module. And do we have everything for that one? All right, so there's a genetic imprinter. Genetic sampler, looks like it's the same recipe, pretty much. We need one of those. And another power module, which we should have everything crafted up for. Okay, so there's that guy. And was it genetic transposer or replicator? It's the transposer that it wants. So we will make this guy. So we need 2 of these. And 1 of these. And there we go. Okay, so that should satisfy this quest. Yeah. So that's going to give us 4 genetic templates and 1. So I assume this one probably is already filled with stuff. Let's read the quest too, because it might say something that I'm not sure about. The first thing you need to manipulate bee genes are machines capable of extracting genes from various sources. A genetic sampler will sample the DNA of bees and saplings. Okay, so did I know? I can't remember if I've ever used these for trees or not, but that's good to know that we'll do the trees as well. And put one of the genes from the specimen onto a blank sample. Unwanted samples can be baked in a furnace to recycle them, which is good because they can get expensive. A genetic transposer can copy samples and templates. First, a genetic imprinter can imprint a written template onto a bee or a sapling, changing its type and genes permanently. Templates are written by combining different samples with a blank template. Right. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's kind of boring, but it actually is pretty awesome that you can just take one of these templates, get a whole bunch of samples, and then stamp all of your bees and I assume trees, and just have them have the best of the best stats right off the bat. So that's awesome. So this has 7 out of 13 already on here. So that's a Valiant Bee. Ignores day, night, true. Flowers, both. Fertility 3. Flyer. And temperature tolerance. So that isn't too bad. The temperature tolerance is really good. The fertility 3 will help out for getting the drones. And Valiant. Did we already have a Valiant? Yeah, we got 1 Valiant princess from our original hives that we broke, but we don't have a drone, so we couldn't do anything with this. This template right here will allow us to actually make ourselves more of those Valiant bees, which is great. So we can just put these guys away and that away. As far as the other quests go, okay. So further meddling. This says if you want to go beyond the bounds of normal mutation and are tired of putting 2 different bees together and waiting for the offspring, try the mutatron. Provided with mutagen by melting redstone in the mutagen producer with 2 different species of bees or saplings, it will give you one of the possible mutations. There are rumors of more advanced mutations, but that's probably a myth. Okay, so the mutatron, this guy, mutatron, there's the advanced mutatron. This one right here is kind of like when you put your bees into a hive, you automatically get a random bee. The advanced one, you get to choose what the offspring will be. So I think the quest wanted us to make this one, but we are never going to use it. We're just going to jump straight to the advanced mutatron. So yeah, let me go ahead and do the more crafting off camera, guys, and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I went ahead and I made the rest of those machines, and I got them all laid out here in our bee area that we've kind of set up already. So our genetic sampler, this is what that guy's looking like. Takes power, we put in a bee or a tree, it looks like, or a tree sapling. You have to put in the labware and these blank samples, just like so. And it does a little processing thing, and you randomly get a trait from whatever the sapling or the bee you put in here. So you can take those and let's see, you combine those with the gene sample, which I don't have on me. So anyway, this guy right here, this will take the gene sample, or I guess the petri dish, whatever that thing's called, I can't remember. It puts whatever's on here onto the bee or the sapling, and then you get the result over here. The genetic transposer, not exactly sure which this one does. Maybe this copies one thing to another one. I'll have to figure that out later. We'll remember that. I know I've used it before. So the mutagen producer, you put in like redstone, glowstone. There's a few other items that you can use to make mutagen stored right here, and that goes over into the mutatron. So I made both the mutatron and the advanced one. The advanced one actually uses a mutatron in the recipe. So I made a second one so we could see the difference between the two. So the advanced one has the power. It needs the mutagen. You put in the two different bees that you want to breed, or I guess mate together, some labware, and then you get to choose the different types that you can get. And then over here, this is the regular one where you don't have the option to choose the exact same interface, just missing this little select area. So we will be using the advanced one. We will not be using the regular one because this one is so much better. Okay, so I still need to get these things hooked up. I need to get some power over here and do that. So I think we should just go ahead and do this real quick. Get these guys powered up, see what it looks like. Right, so we need a tesseract, and I still haven't made those tesseracts. I just made the frames. So we will make those real quick. Tesseract. Let's just make all of those. Okay, so we just need one, and then we need some flux ducts. Resonant. We don't really need resonant, I don't think, but we will use those anyway. Let's grab some redstone. I think that's all we need out of the AE system for now. Okay. Through the book. So we will put that stuff right like that. We will put a tesseract down here just to power those. Item mode, fluid mode, receive only, main base. Okay, so all these guys should be getting power now. Looks like it. They got a different power thing. They're yellow. This one holds 1.6 million, 5 million, 1 million, 4 million. Kind of a bunch of random numbers there for how much they hold, I guess. Okay, so the one thing I'm not really remembering, if the mutagen producer pushes out the liquid into an adjacent inventory, because if it does that, that'll make this thing a lot cleaner. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pipe it from the back into this. So we will throw in... Did that put in 2? Yeah, that put in 2. So you put in 1, it kind of goes away and it starts doing the progress. Click to see recipes. Let's do that, see what else we can make here. So glowstone and yellorium, which we won't be using, I don't think. Redstone block and redstone dust. So those are the only options we have. Redstone we have abundance of since we have plants making it. Okay, so that says empty, and it did push it out over here. Okay, so that's awesome. So 1 dust makes 100 millibuckets. I really don't remember how much we need of this stuff, but I think it's kind of the case where you just throw in a stack of redstone blocks and call it a day. It will produce all the mutagen we need, fill this tank up, and then fill up its reserve tank. And then whenever we need the stuff, it'll be ready to go. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Genetic sampler. Do we have any extra drones? We have a few different meadows, tropicals. Well, we're really not at the point right now where I want to throw away any of these bees. They do get destroyed when you take the samples from them. So we've reached the end of the episode. I caught myself rambling there, so we just kind of cut that off. But anyway, we'll be looking at getting into those bees here pretty soon. I do want to get those resources going. There's some cool things that we can get from them. I do believe one of the types of bees makes yellorium. If not, we can make uranium, and I think that converts into it. But those are things we're going to want for big reactors, for more power, for things coming up in the future. So it's a definite must-have. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you did like it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.